Good afternoon, Nation's Corner fans, family, and friends. John of South Jersey here again with another Nation's Corner on location exclusive interview. Joining me today, a young man who has been making the name for himself in the indie circuits and around the area, especially down south. Uh, Young man, I've been trying to get on for a while, and we're going to talk wrestling. We're going to talk gaming. We're going to talk a whole bunch of different things because he does have a lot to do and a lot going on. And I would love now to welcome to the show. He is the Hot Shot Hunter Knott joining me here.
What is up, John? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, man. Thank you for joining me, and welcome to Nation's Corner on location.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to talk some fun stuff.
Yes, we're definitely going to do that, and a full list of fun stuff that is, because you, my young friend, have a lot going on.
Yes, sir.
Not just in the world of wrestling, but other things you are into and doing, and we're going to talk about them as well. But let's start first with wrestling. And as we were just talking before we started this, I became aware of you and your tag team partner, Rosario Grillo, otherwise known as TSF. And
Yes,
folks,
sir.
if you don't know what TSF is, you just don't know.
You don't get it.
You don't get it if you don't know what TSF is. But I became aware of both of you through each of your respective significant others. I had seen them working independent wrestling shows. Your girlfriend being part of Capital Championship Wrestling and Mission Pro Wrestling. And I was speaking with them and talking with them at shows and saying, oh, wow, you both have boyfriends that wrestle, and led me to you and Rosario. And watching you guys develop now, and a quick shout out, 24% Rosario. You pulling, brother.
Yep, he's going to get that super kick capability back.
Yes,
baby.
He is. While he's on the men, you've had to now move into a singles career, a singles venture, obviously without your partner, and not wanting. I don't think TSF works with anybody else but Grillo. So what was that like? Because you guys were really starting to build a name and build some steam as a tag team, and now, unfortunately, the injury bug unfortunately reaches out and bites them, and you are now going on alone. So how has that transition been for you so far?
So to be honest, man, it's been tough. Ever since I started wrestling at the Nightmare Factory, we've been TSF. Me and Rosario have always been a tag team together. And like you said, I really felt like we were finally starting to take off and get our name out there and all that stuff. And unfortunately, very unfortunate situations do happen. And I have no doubt that we will be back and better than ever as soon as old Grillo boy is back in full super kick capability.
Yes.
But it's a whole nother world, man. It really is, because I spent the past 2 years really learning tag team wrestling, the psychology to it, how do you dance with 4 people instead of just 2. It's really, really different. And not just in the sense of wrestling wise too, but I always had Rosario there next to me with whatever I did. So just having that comfortability, going to shows, we always go together. We do those car rides together. We do all that stuff together. And now that it's just me, I'm like, oh man, I miss those times. I miss him a lot. But I've been enjoying the singles realm as well. It finally gives me a chance to figure out who I am as a wrestler. Not saying that as a tag team it didn't, but like I said, there's 2 people compared to 1. Now I kind of have to figure it out on my own. But it's helped me develop this hotshot person that I am truthfully in real life as well, that I'm trying to portray to everybody, just to kind of get people to understand who I am, not just as a wrestler, but as a person too.
Fantastic. I like that. And I do, we're gonna talk a little bit about the genesis and development of the Hot Shot. Did you and Rosario know each other before you went, or did you guys meet at the Nightmare Factory?
Believe it or not, we met each other at the Nightmare Factory. We're both tri-state boys. I'm from Pennsylvania. He's from Jersey.
Yep.
Shout out South Jersey.
Yes.
So we're both big Northeast guys. But once the factory started, we all moved down here from various different locations. And I remember like the third day of training, I saw him just stretching on the turf, and I was looking at him. I was like, "Oh man, this guy seems like a cool dude. I'm gonna go talk to him."
Mm-hmm.
And went over, talked to him, and we literally connected like that.
Mm.
The chemistry was there off the bat, which obviously helped with TSF and the creation of TSF. But very, very blessed to be able to go through everything with him, come up with him, because just having each other in our corner is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Now, were you? Now it was you and Rosario,
Mhm.
and you were also there with Robin and Charlotte, the Renegade
Yes.
twins, and Cat Spencer, and a few others that escaped me. But is that the first Nightmare class?
Yeah, so that was the first
Okay.
Nightmare class. I don't know if you know of the name Carly Bravo.
Yes.
He was also in that class.
Yeah, one half of the
Hayden
infantry.
Backlund, Dean Alexander, Brooke Havoc. Yeah, we were all those first class people.
Okay. I knew you were all there. I just didn't know you were all there at the same time and part of that first class. But that's very cool. And wow, what a place to learn from.
Oh my gosh, you're telling me.
You want to talk about going to an Ivy League school of professional wrestling.
That's Harvard right there.
Yeah, it's don't get much better than that. You hear, especially with young independent wrestlers like yourselves and young guys and girls getting involved in the business, the horror stories of some of these quote unquote schools that they've gone to and people they worked with. But man, good for you guys that you were able to jump right in and, like I said, man, get to the Ivy League of wrestling schools. But we're moving on from your training, and one thing I just wanted to point out, folks, if you haven't seen any of Hunter and Rosario stuff on YouTube or on the streaming services and stuff, watch it, because you can tell that these guys, you guys do, you're hit exactly on the head. You guys click. You guys in the ring were very, very fluid, very seamless. You guys were, you hear great tag teams talk about thinking with the same brain and things like that. And one's weakness is the other's strength and vice versa. And that always came across to me anytime I saw you guys, was how well you guys just meshed. And it didn't matter your opponents or anything like that. You were able to work your team and the way you guys wanted to work all the time. And there are tag teams that never get that working together for 10 years, and you guys hit it right off the bat. So that's really a cool thing.
Well, I mean, he's literally like my brother, man. Like I said, like we kind of came up through all this. We have similar backgrounds with being from the Northeast and a couple other things as well. So it's just easy, and he's a great guy. Like I'm proud to call him one of my best friends. Like it makes everything easy.
Did you grow up a wrestling fan?
So I did. When I was about 8 years old is when I first got into wrestling, the love of wrestling, and I was the biggest of John Cena fans. Like that was my guy. That was my dude when he got fired from the Nexus. I actually remember it was a sad night. But yeah, so I was really into wrestling during that time until I was about like 12 years old, I want to say. Once I hit 12, I kind of fell out of it for a little bit. And then when I hit about 19 is when I started getting into it again. Whenever AEW first got created, I was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole world to wrestling out there other than just WWE. And that kind of gave me more knowledge on like the indie scene and, New Japan, Ring of Honor, all those other promotions that are going on. I was like, wow, I feel like I could actually do this.
Very cool. Very cool. Have you become a student of the game since? Obviously, I mean, not just training, but you're doing the YouTube wormholes like the rest of us, going and finding old matches and different things and stuff like that. Fantastic.
Yeah, I try to every time I hit the gym and I do cardio, I try to throw on like just a random match from any certain type of era while I do my cardio, just to study, see what I can learn, if I can do any new cool things.
Very cool. Very cool. You and I have to point this out just because I thought it was so cool, and I'm one of the people that really miss it as much as you guys. Wrestle House was folks, again, get on YouTube and watch this series that they all did. Picture the best. It's a little bit of a dated reference, but I think it works, and you can obviously expound on it much more than I have. Folks, think MTV's Real World, but wrestling. It was yourself and Rosario and Kat and Dean Alexander, and then Trip Jordy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically just a kind of a vlog of you guys living your lives and different things. And what I thought it was cool was it was basically living your lives day to day, stuff like that. And then the road trips, you guys with your toy hunts and stuff, and Cat's reactions to, like, I can't believe I'm sitting out in the Target parking lot waiting for these guys to go find some action figure. There are so many other things I could be doing on my day off, all that. But it was really cool, and damn it, I wanted the challenge for the Wrestle House title. I really did. I was getting poised. I was training. I was getting ready. I'm like, I'm gonna hit these guys up. I'm gonna say, you know what? I think that belt belongs around my waist and on my shelf. I'm coming for the Wrestle House title. But was that something that you all just said, hey, we want to do this, or spontaneous, or how did that come about?
So it was a little bit of everybody. At the time, whenever it was created, it was me, Kat, John, and Dean living in the same place.
Right.
And him and Dean kind of had the idea to start some type of YouTube thing. They weren't sure what it was quite yet.
Right.
But then we decided, like, what if we just do a vlog of like our everyday lives, just quick videos, like 10 to maybe 15-minute videos every week, just to kind of give people a background on what it's actually like being an independent wrestler, going to these shows, stopping at Buc-ee's on the way back, just stuff like that.
Right.
So it was a lot of trial and error, and I wish I played more part of it. Shout out Grillo, because he was camera always out, making sure to capture the moments. I'm just stupid. I forgot a lot of the times. But it was fun. It was really, really, really fun. And I do miss it, and I miss it a lot. I think it was a good way to get ourselves out there, not just as wrestlers, but as people as well. But it was just a good time, man. All of us friends hanging out, doing these shows. It was great. And hey, listen, you totally could have challenged for the title, and I'm pretty sure Trip Jordy is the reigning defending current champion. So if you ever come across him,
I will. I'm waiting. It. I am so ready when. I am going to hit him out of nowhere. I'm going to be like Randy Orton, out of nowhere. Yes, out of nowhere. Trip Jordy. I'm just going to put him down. Say, Trip Jordy, I am coming to take your Wrestle House belt. Your days are numbered, my friend. TikTok.
I'm here for it. Big take.
Yes, I will take it. But you moved on. Let's. Dude, I'm so obsessed now with beating Trip Jordy. I forgot what I was going to say.
Don't let him eat at you.
No, he's not. No, trust me, he's definitely. If he is in my head at all, he is paying double rent. So,
hell yeah,
not rent free. You moved on though. You have started a Twitch channel, and I keep saying I want to jump in there with you and play Call of Duty and stuff. But is that was that a different challenge to you, or something that you said, this might be something I can use for other things, not just, gaming and stuff like that? But what was the idea behind your Twitch channel?
So I've always been a huge video game guy. Ever since I, growing up, I was always playing the Call of Duties, always going to the midnight releases, all that fun stuff, hopping on with my friends after school to play some Minecraft. It was a way for me to escape the real world for a little bit and kind of just, have fun with the boys, get a few quick games of Warzone in, just have a good time and just like distract yourself from the problems of the real world.
Right.
So last year I was like, okay, because I had thought about doing it in the past, but getting all the equipment and everything kind of to line up to where to actually start the Twitch is a long process in itself. So I decided, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to try it out. Even if nobody watches me, I'm still going to have a good time. I'm going to try to put out this content, and hopefully people will watch. So I started, and it actually got a lot more success than I thought it would pretty quickly. Shout out a few of the, the most important fans that I have on the Twitch. I believe Ellie Mae, Melissa, R. Sully, Mark Order Podcast. Big shout out to him. There's a few people that have always been there, Mike Pasts, and they really helped me develop this audience to what my Twitch is today. And I remember me, Trip, and Grillo were playing WWE 2K22 last year.
Mm.
and Johnny Gargano raided my stream out of nowhere. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. He raided with like 345 people. So that was the most people I've ever had watch me play a video game at the time. But not just to play video games and get away for a little bit, but it's also a good time to connect with fans, if that makes any sense. Like, I like playing the actual games, but I almost enjoy talking to these people more than playing the actual game. It just gives me a chance to connect with them, you know, because I always say it on Twitch, but without our fans, we would be nothing as wrestlers. So the least I can do is just talk to them and have a good time with them. But that was my main goal with Twitch, and I'm still going strong. You know, moving and getting a new car and doing all that stuff has kind of impacted it a little bit. So it's been more of like the once a week instead of like 3 times a week type of deal. But we're still going strong, and I really, really, really do enjoy it. And I'm very grateful that it has gotten to the point that where it's at today.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's great. Wow. Johnny Wrestling comes in. I can't say that I don't have a Twitch channel, but I am. I say it with no shame. I'm going to be 52 years old this October, and I have been playing video games. I can go back. You know, I know some of you kids don't realize it, that, you know, at once upon a time there really was a thing called the Atari 2600 that some of us actually played. Yeah, it's not a myth. It's not an urban legend. It's not an urban legend. It's a real thing.
What about that Sega Genesis?
Genesis, yes, all the way through Atari 5200, all the way on up to now. You know, I'm in the process now of finally acquiring my PS5.
Oh, so, congratulations!
Yes, I'm leveling up. But yeah, I totally get it with video games, because you're right. They are a nice relief and a way to just step away. Although little 12-year-old kids on Call of Duty just remind me of why I don't like video games. But
they'll get you going.
That's something. Yeah, they will. But that's another thing entirely. Entirely. While you're doing this and that, and the one thing I want to point out for the audience is you are not just you in general. You yourself have really embraced media, social media, this new age, us old folks call it, of YouTube, Twitch, and making connections with fans and people, and fans and different people who aren't necessarily wrestling fans and not necessarily gaming fans per se, but you're exposing people to new and different parts of not only yourself, but what you do and what you are in wrestling and in life. And is there a downside to that you see?
That's a good question. That's a very, very good question. Nobody's actually asked me that yet. So like you said, this generation is very social media driven. It is the best way that I feel like you can get yourself out there and exposed that way. Like, say, if you meet a fan who followed you in Minnesota and you post a few of your wrestling clips and who you are, maybe a promo, if you ever go out and wrestle in Minnesota, that person that attends that show will already kind of know who you are, if that makes any type of sense. So I'm a firm believer in using social media to your advantage. There are a lot of downsides to it. I wouldn't say a lot. It's really just one key one is, I guess there's two. It does take a lot of time and a lot of creativity. So trying to come up with these Instagram reels that I can post and these tweets that I can put out, maybe this graphic or this YouTube video I can make, it's a lot of time and it's very, very time driven. But I wouldn't change it for the world for what I get to do. Like, I get to connect with people through it. I get to meet all these new fantastic people through it. So with that, it's a thing in its own beauty. But also, you know, some people really aren't social media people. And I kind of was that way whenever I started wrestling. Like, I really wasn't too big into social media, never really got on Instagram, never really got on Twitter too much. But like I said, with this generation of wrestling being so social media driven, you kind of have to change that attitude, and you have to put yourself out there in order for people to see you.
Yeah, no, that all makes complete total sense. And you know, as a comparison, you know, when I was your age, if I was going to be getting in and breaking into the business and everything else, I didn't have this literal global connection that that social media allows today, it would. I mean, some things haven't changed. You know, it would still be a lot of car rides and town to town and making the loops and the shows and everything. But there was no way. You know, if I wanted to go to Minnesota, I would be going in there ice cold as someone no one ever heard of or anything.
Mhm.
But now I think that's an advantage, especially for the younger wrestlers and the newer wrestlers, that they can you can really start building and growing your fan base almost from day one.
Mhm.
And
And I
you're right.
encourage a lot of new wrestlers to please, please, please take advantage of it, because it's such a huge part of the game that people kind of just push to the side.
Yeah, I was you're reading my mind. I was going to say that. I said it has to make in certain things, it has to be make things so much easier. And also, what I have noticed, especially talking to some promoters and bookers and stuff, as I do from time to time, they pay attention to that. They pay attention what not even so much what their follower count or anything is, but do they even have a social media presence? You know, what are they doing to promote themselves, and which in turn they're looking at what are they going to bring to help promote me or my organization or my show upcoming that they're booked on. And I can't for the life of me think why no one, you know, no promoter, no wrestler wouldn't do it, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's about building yourself and building your brand.
Yep.
And I would have to think, if you're not doing it, you know, like you said, you're not doing yourself a service. So good for you for embracing that, and in turn, look at you giving back already. Giving back already, saying, "Hey, kid, you know, when I was your age,
back in my day,
I'm, you know, you can almost kind of slide into that grizzled veteran role." But we'll get to that because there's plenty of time to get to that. When you were working, do you have a particular style you like to work? A particular type? Is it, you know, some people say I'm a brawler, I'm a lucha style high flyer, I'm a Japanese strong style hard hitting, or you I mean, you've been exposed to everything probably at the Nightmare Factory just through training. Have you found something that you particularly like or like to use while you're in the ring?
So I really don't think I have a certain type of style. I kind of just do what I like to do, if that makes any sense. Whatever it takes to win, you know, just can't give up. If I had to put myself in a category, I would say I'm more of like a brawler type deal. But again, whatever it takes to get the job done, you know, if I'm hitting you with that spine buster, you better not kick out.
Well, yeah, you're very fluid in the ring. Number one, and yes, I'm a particular fan of that kind of that brawler, strong style, very physical, hard hitting type of wrestling, and you certainly are like that now. You know, you're not. You can do some of the high flyer stuff if you want to or anything like that, but
that's the big key word right there.
Okay, but you know. Oh, so if I do happen to see you go to the top rope, I should be afraid. Okay.
Yeah, hey, just saying. I can do a pretty mean backflip.
Okay. All right.
I can do a moonsault, never hit it yet, though.
Oh, well, there's time. You can work on it if you want. But yeah, that hard hitting style, I particularly enjoy. And like I said, you're very fluid in the ring. Your movement, your footwork. Again, credit to you for getting out there and putting in the work on that, and of course, credit to your training because I can't tell you how many times I've seen, wow, this person has, you know, a good look, a good kind of character to them or something, but they get in the ring and it's like, oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what do you do? And now, mind you, I've never trained per se. I've been in and around the business for quite a long time, and if my resume is anything else, it's thousands upon hundreds of tens of thousands of hours of watching live wrestling, especially independents. And I don't call myself by any means an expert, but after just a while, you can kind of see who has the mechanics then the basics right and who doesn't. And more times than not, you see a lot of wrong ones that you're like, oh boy, you need to go back to the gym, young man or lady, and keep working on it. But anyway, when one thing I do want to ask without getting too personal, as we mentioned, your girlfriend is also a wrestler. Does that, what kind of dynamic is that? Does that, I'm sure in a lot of ways it helps because you can say, hey, pass the tiger bomb when you're done with it. Stuff like that. But what kind of dynamic is that with, having someone in the business with you?
It's I've found no troubles with it. I love my girlfriend to death. I'm very blessed to have been able to meet her. And it's nice because it kind of gives each other an insight on to like, okay, I'm going to be gone for 3 days. This is what I'm doing. If you're dating somebody else who's not involved with the wrestling world, they'll probably be a little confused. Like, oh, why are you going to be gone for 3 days at this show? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But, we kind of just understand each other. And she is my number one fan and also my number one biggest critique. And I appreciate that tremendously because, she'll always be there for me, always will support me, but she'll also tell me when I'm doing something wrong and how I can fix it as well. So for me, it's been nothing but a great thing. And again, I'm very blessed to have been able to meet her because she's a beautiful, beautiful, amazing girl.
Oh, yes. And knowing her as well as I do, yes, I can say without a doubt, folks, trust me, she will be his most vocal cheerleader and his most harshest critic. She has no problem expressing exactly expressing exactly what's on her mind, and I credit that to her mom. Shout out to Angie Ma Renegade, my girl. They know I love them all. But that's cool because you're right. I would imagine if it's somebody not in the business, and that's if you have a boyfriend, husband, wife, girlfriend that's not involved in the business, I can only imagine those conversations.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean you're going wrestling for 3 days?
Exactly.
And what are you really doing with this wrestling?
Yeah.
So I can imagine having someone else in the business just makes it, that aspect of it, 100% easier as far as a relationship, and also it's kind of nice to have that ally as well, someone that knows about what you're going through and what you're dealing with, and to me, I think it's fantastic, and I wish you guys, in that aspect of anything, regardless what happens with each other in wrestling, I'm glad you two found each other, and I hope you have a wonderful long life together.
I appreciate that.
It's cool. But let's move on. Let's get into what is Hot Shot Hunter Knott.
I like that question. So Hot Shot Hunter Knott, I actually figured out the Hot Shot moniker by playing Call of Duty one day. I was in the item shop and I saw there was like a bundle and it was called the Hot Shot bundle. And I started thinking, like, this was like a month before I came down to Georgia for the factory. Okay. I was like, oh, Hot Shot Hunter Knott. And kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit. So I decided to use that there, but the person who Hot Shot is the person that you see in real life. I am very open and honest about the things that I have been through during my lifetime. I didn't have the best of upbringings, but it's what I like to use to try to encourage people that if they go out and they really have a dream and they set their mind to do something, that they can absolutely achieve it. If you can believe in yourself that much, there's literally nothing in this world that you cannot do. So I like to try to portray just me as a human being in my wrestling. And that's truthfully who Hot Shot is. It's just me. I'm myself. I will never back down from a fight. I will always fight for others, fight for what others stand for. And that's just as simple as it can be.
Fantastic. And I do want to expand upon that a little bit because I think that's a wonderful, at a young age and young to this business, for you to portray and give that off and share that with other people, I think is really cool. I've seen and come across so many that all they and I understand in the business you have to be a little bit selfish to some extent just to try it, because you're trying to get noticed and you're trying to build a name and a brand and everything. But I think it's equally important, like what you just said, that the beautiful thing about wrestling, and this has been universal for me my entire wrestling fan life. Wrestling connects people. Wrestling connects people all over the world, all different races, colors, creeds, religious backgrounds, sexual orientations, gender. It doesn't matter. Wrestling fans are wrestling fans, and and I went through the years when I was teenager and young guy myself that you watch wrestling, that's fake, that's it was that truly that us against them mentality, us against the regular world, because this was something we were passionate about, this is something we enjoyed. And again, the the magic, it's also the tragedy, but the magic of social media now is, yes, wrestling fans can connect all over the world, and it opens up even a bigger world, and more importantly to me, it opens up lines of communication, lines of dialogue, people getting to know. Yes, we're all wrestling fans, but you can learn about other people's cultures, other people's backgrounds, how just get exposure to things that in your normal day-to-day life you might not. And I think that is a important message of positivity and being yourself and believing in yourself. I think is very important, and good for you for making a point to share that and making that really part of your character. So it's not at that point, it's not a character, it's amped up, but it's you.
Yes.
Being you. And I think that's fantastic, because again, there are people that they, especially in the business, try and struggle for years to find a character or find an identity, and some never really do. But you certainly have a very concise, clear image of who Hot Shot is, and again, bringing that out to the people and sharing it with the people. I think it can only help you connect not only with fans, but with just people in general. Do you um do you get that kind of feedback? Do you have people coming up to you or leaving you messages on your Twitch or your social media saying, "Hey, I saw you wrestle and it was really great. I enjoy you. I identify with your message and thank you for it." Have you had that feedback yet? Because I have a feeling it's coming if you haven't.
So I have, and it's a tremendous feeling, man, because I've said it many times, but I just want to be a ray of light and like a symbol of hope for people that have gone through the same things that I have, that don't believe in themselves or don't think they can accomplish anything, because I want to be able to show them, if you can set your mind, you can do anything. You can really, really do anything. And I've always said, ever since I've been young, going through what I did, I just want to give back to the world. That's all I want to do. I'm not really in this for the fame. I'm not in it for anything like that. I want to give back, and I want to help people is the biggest thing. I want to be able to help people.
Wow. That is incredibly refreshing and incredibly humbling to hear, because at a point, you normally hear that point 10 or 15 years into the career after you've quote unquote made it and all that, and now I want to be into it. But man, you're coming right out of the gate with that up front and making that the priority, other than quote unquote making it, which I still have no doubt that you will, but making it.
Appreciate that. Fingers crossed.
Hey man, I'm a fan. I will be a fan till the wheels fall off.
Thank you, Sam.
But yeah, to have that type of mentality is super humbling and refreshing for me to hear. Just because in this social media world, everything is the 10 or 15-second TikTok clip. Everything's instant gratification, and I speak to young independent wrestlers all the time, and I can just tell, but they can tell me without telling me that their whatever their schedule is that they're behind on it. I should be at this point by now. I shouldn't be on this indie show. I should be on television. I should be, and I just tell them that I'm not saying that it hasn't, but for the most part, it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
This is a struggle, a grind. It's as although everyone likes to say, it's the paying of dues. It's
Yes, sir.
the long car rides. It's late nights, many nights away from home and friends and family. Um, all that eventually, if you stay with it, it pays off, and you get to where you want to be.
Mhm.
And I see too many of them obsessed with that. And and it's not, it sounds hard to um, talk about, but I've talked to, of course, older wrestlers that have been in the uh, business for a very long time. They say they were so obsessed with getting their name and getting that big booking and getting that TV contract or that big promotion contract and everything, that they don't remember any of it because they were so obsessed and so locked on this one thing. You know, they missed out. They kind of missed out on the experience and missed the experience. And to me, I was like, that's kind of sad to hear. I mean, I absolutely admire your drive, your passion, your ability and want to stay with it no matter what, to get to that level. But my God, you have incredible stories and memories that you built along that way that you don't remember because you were so obsessed with it. And now here you are with this completely different attitude of just wanting to be a hope, beacon of hope, be a positive point in people's lives, and a point of positivity people can go to. And I think, to me, that's has to be much more special. I'm incredibly impressed, especially at your young age and your young age in the business, that you have this mentality. And by all means, man, I am going to stay 100% with you to the wheels fall off. I want to help promote this message and get this message out to people. And even if there's nothing else, just to other independent wrestlers,
Mhm.
I'm going to use you for a point of reference on future interviews when it comes to things like that, about being positive and keeping your mindset where you want it to be and being who you are, because that's, to me, like I said, that's so humbling and incredibly refreshing, that in this very, very cutthroat at times business, that it doesn't matter. You're going to wind up where you want to be, but you're not so obsessed about where or when that's going to happen, and
Yes.
that you want to help people along the way,
You
man.
just
I
have to
think,
trust. You have to trust not just the process, but
yeah,
yourself as well.
oh, yeah, fantastic. That is very, very cool. Wow, that man, good for you.
Thank you.
I myself, from a troubled background, um, and not the greatest of home lives of myself, identify a lot with what you're saying and how. And yes, it's a very a lot of people succumb to it in many different ways. Um, you know, um, Alcohol addiction, drug addiction, mental health issues, mental health and esteem issues.
Mhm.
And it's very easy to go down that downward spiral and stay down your entire life with it. So again, credit for you to not only get through it, but to turn the negative into the positive and use it to help not only fuel your passion for wrestling, but your passion to help people and wanting to share. And that's one thing I found, especially through wrestling and doing the stuff that I do with the Nation's Corner, my crew. Shout out to my Nation's Corner crew. I love them all. Has opened me up to that, because for a very long time I didn't talk about any of it. I
Mhm.
wouldn't and wouldn't. It was just something I would make a blanket statement on, and not and doing with them, and especially meeting with and talking with young men and women at wrestling shows and stuff. um you start to kind of feel a comfortability in opening up
Yep.
and talking about it. And it's true, the way to take a dark situation and cast some light on it is to talk about it, to open it up, to make it open, to make it accepting, instead of just locking it away and being something you internalize and deal with on your own.
Mhm.
Do you have a um is there a particular message? Is there a particular, I mean, obviously it's the positivity and you can do anything. Have you thought about doing something again with social media? Sorry, my thoughts are a little scattered, but again with social media, have you thought about doing something with that? Your some motivational talks or some speaking, or just letting people know that aspect of you, that hey, this, you're not alone. There are many other people, myself included, out here that have done this. We can talk about it. Nothing. I'm not going to save you. I'm not going to. I can't undo the damage that's been done. But I found that if you talk about it, it definitely helps, and more importantly, it develops understanding. Is that something you thought about doing at some point?
Yeah, so to kind of carry over with what you said, my situation, I had never talked about it in high school just because I felt embarrassed. Like I didn't really want to put it out there. I always hid it from my best of friends, never told them about it. But after graduating and after I felt a little more comfortable into who I was able to tell them, and it just felt like a big weight was lifted off my shoulder. So I encourage people to do that. And that's what I'm trying to campaign for, is for people to, reach out to people, because there's a lot of people out there that do care and that do want to help. But I try to, especially on Twitter. I'm not sure if you've ever stumbled upon any, but I try to tweet out some motivational quotes not every day, but every other day, every now and then, is something that I really do try to do. And in my Instagram captions and a couple things like that. Through my Twitch, I try to encourage people to talk to me and actually talk to me. That's why I said it's more of almost the talking to my fans rather than playing the actual video game itself. But one thing that is my main goal and what I would like to create is something called the Tough Knott Foundation. And what I envision that being is a foundation that helps people in the similar shoes that I was, with an addict in the family, but nobody really considers the other end of that, of the single mother trying to raise two kids on her own, if that makes any sense. Like, because we were struggling, my mom was working her butt off. We were scared the lights were going to get turned off if she was going to have enough money to pay rent. And I was working my butt off with whatever I could to help her at the time. But nobody really sees that side of the story.
Right.
How it affects the kids and the other parent and all that stuff. So that is kind of my main goal. And what I would like to create is a foundation to help families and kids that, want to go to school, but they can't afford it, or want to become a wrestler, but they just can't afford it due to the situations that they unfortunately were in.
That's absolutely fantastic, because you're right. And to a certain extent, rightfully so, the help and the support is focused on the person with the addict.
Yes, and that is completely okay as well, because it is a disease and they do need help.
Yeah, but you're right, man. There's still, for lack of a better term, there's collateral damage. There's sons and daughters, a wife or husband, family, and all that stuff that have that same burden as well, and have to live with that every day of their lives. And you're right, it's talked about, but not nowhere near as much. And man, again, good for you for recognizing that and now wanting to do something with it, man. I'm on board. I'm in. I am throwing all the powers and influence and everything that Nation's Corner has to get behind you and the Tough Knott Foundation. Whenever you get it going, man, please let us know. We will do everything we can to help you with it, because this is something very very refreshing. Because I'm sure even you have done other interviews, other things, and it's all, who's your favorite wrestler, what's your favorite match, and did you see this match? And they, well, no, you didn't see that match because you probably weren't born yet. So you got to watch this, and I've seen 100 of them, and there's 100 podcasts out there that do it that way, and that's fine. I always like to know, we're going to talk wrestling. but I want to know you. I want to know the person. I see you in the ring and I see you at shows and stuff, and that's fine. But I want to know who you are, and learning all these new things about you, and um, especially this stuff with Tough Knott Foundation and your outlook and perspective on things is fantastic. It makes, like I said, even more of a fan, and I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can to help you with this every step of the way. 'Cause it's a need that is needing to be addressed, and I for all the quote unquote bad things they say about wrestling, here's a perfect example that here is something wrestling does good, and wrestling has always done good, especially with helping people deal with issues, self-esteem and body issues, um, mindset issues, and not all of us come from the greatest of backgrounds, and it's not all of us, and not saying that the ones that do are any different, but but I think one thing, one underlying current, or especially with wrestling, and going back to that us against them mentality, when people don't have or haven't had too many other avenues or ways to connect with people, or even just find acceptance. Wrestling's always been um, a huge area, a huge big warm welcome. Look, nobody else wants you. Guess what? Nobody else wants us either. Come with us.
Yeah, and like shout out to some of the amazing people like AEW's community outreach that they do, connecting with communities. You got Sammy for Syria. A lot of these people are already changing the world in such a great place that I just hope that one day I'll be able to do the same.
I have no doubt you will. No doubt you will. All right, let's go. Oh, wait. As positive, as nice as this has been, let's go back to talking about a little bit of wrestling.
Yep.
What do you think? Where do you think you're headed right now? Are you going to continue? Once Gorilla is healed, obviously we're going to have hopefully come across and see a big reunion, return match for you two in the ring with TSF. Are you still going to want to keep doing singles in addition to, or just work with John, or just work by yourself, or you're not quite that sure yet?
So I 1000% still would like to be TSF. That's my brother.
Yeah.
I want to go win championships all over the world with him. I want to make it with him. Like I want to do everything that I can with him. But getting into the singles world and really getting to step back and figure out what I would like to be as a person as well, that I really can't focus too much on while we're TSF, because we're doing our TSF thing, is also great as well. So I think I will still be doing a lot of single stuff as well as being TSF with Gorilla whenever he comes back.
Fantastic. Good. Do you have any shows coming up?
I do. So I'm actually just getting over a dislocated shoulder that happened about a month ago.
I was saving that, but now that you've said it, okay, the shoulder is okay. We're back.
Yes, it's back. We got full functionality. Whenever it happened, it was a crazy experience though, because it's never happened to me before. And I was in the middle of a tag match and went to catch somebody, freak accident, shoulder popped out, and it was just a lot of pressure. Not really a lot of pain, but just a lot of pressure. So I ran like another minute, tagged out, made sure I told everybody like, hey, my shoulder's fucked. Yeah. Rolled outside the ring. A whole bunch of security guys came over to me and popped it back into place. So me being stupid, and please nobody ever do this, was like, okay, all right, I'm good. Let's go. I got some,
we're some
places I gotta get to.
No.
Yeah. So I tagged back in. I went to throw a kick, and as I was throwing the kick, the momentum of my arm popped my shoulder right back out again. And I knew at that point that I had to be done. So tagged back out for the last time, held on to the bottom rope and just went and popped it right back into place. But to get to the point, I've been trying to slow things down a little bit since then. I've been wrestling still, but wrestling in a way where it doesn't really affect it too much. But now that it's healed, I'll be taking a lot more bookings, and hopefully with this new card that I have, make a lot more states. I have Southern Fried Championship Wrestling this upcoming weekend. After that, I will be in Los Angeles for WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, bookings for WrestleMania week, like everybody else, or some, or
hopefully I will have at least one.
Okay.
I kind of got thrown into the whole Mania weekend a little last minute, so I didn't really have a chance to ask a bunch of promoters and all that stuff. But I hope that I can make one at least happen that I think I have a good chance of.
Okay.
But after that, you can always catch me around Atlanta. A lot of shows I work around the Atlanta area. I'd love to come back up to On Point if they run again here soon. Hopefully, more back home shows. There's a promotion called 5 Star Wrestling, actually, that is going to be run out of Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which, if you didn't know, is my hometown.
Yes.
So I will be wrestling there June 3rd.
Okay.
And I wrestle for CCW quite a bit too, Coastal Championship
Wrestling. Yep.
A lot. We're going to hopefully be able to go down to Florida, me and Trip Jordy, but I do wrestle at their Nashville shows quite frequently as well.
Yeah. Shout out to our good friend in Nation's Corner, Guido. Old man Guido Nick.
Love Guido, man.
Him and Ruthie, his daughter, go to all the Nashville shows. And my God, that girl and him, you see some of it on social media, but they must take 5,000-6,000 pictures, and they're all fantastic, especially hers. And but that's going. They're going to have a bit of a rebranding, aren't they? It's going to be Championship Wrestling out of Florida.
I'm a little unsure about what they're at, because I saw that through a tweet. I didn't hear it through any of the wrestlers or the promoter.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's like a separate thing or if they're just rebranding CCW into that, or what they plan on doing. But I'm down for it.
We'll have to, we'll find out together. It sounds very cool. So,
absolutely.
All right, Hunter, this has been an absolute eye-opening experience, and so very cool as well. Please let the folks know where can they get with you, how to connect with you on the social media, give out your Twitch channel, tell us about your merch, all that good stuff.
All right. Well, as you can see below, you see that tag at HKnott12 on Twitter. Also on Instagram at HKnott12. You can find my new Pro Wrestling Tees website at prowrestlingtees.com/HKnott12 as well. Or if you want to get your TSF goods, you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/tag-TSF. I do, like I said, I run on Twitch. It's been a little slower recently, but I'm hoping to get back into the pace and hopefully stream about like 2 times a week. You can find me over there at twitch.tv/HotShotHK. And if you ever are interested on where I'll be wrestling or what shows I'll be attending, always be up to date on Twitter. If you want to throw my notifications on, feel free. But that is the best place to see where I will be going and heading and all that good stuff.
Right. Fantastic. Yes. And I highly recommend the TSF shirts. And I guess I'm heading back over to Pro Wrestling Tees now for my Hot Shot t-shirt. because I got to keep up. I have to have the branding. Got to represent those who represent. So
I appreciate that, man.
But this has been an absolute pleasure, man. I am dead serious. Anything that you have going forward with the Tough Knott Foundation as you develop it, or get things going, please let me know. Let us know here at the Nation's Corner. We will blast out every and any information and be part of anything you have going on for it, because I think it's a very amazingly good, positive message that we encourage here at Nation's Corner. And
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
We definitely want to make sure that we're in with you on this and stay in contact with us. So if for nothing else, please keep us in contact with me and us with that. So ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight has been the Hot Shot Hunter Knott. Please go see him when he's out now, making shows and performing in the various areas of the South or wherever. If you're happen to be out at WrestleMania weekend, walk up to that independent promoter and say, "Is Hot Shot on this show?"
Because
you mean no? He's not here. I'm sorry, sir. I am not attending your show. And then, but see him live. When his partner Rosario Grillo heals up. Go see TSF perform. They are very entertaining and very fun to watch in the ring, as Hunter is on his own. So I am John in South Jersey. This is Nation's Corner on location. My guest has been Hunter Knott. And I thank him for his time tonight. Hunter,
Thank you
good
for
luck
having
with
me.
everything. Please say hello
appreciate
to your lovely girlfriend for me.
I will.
And thank you for joining me so much. And we will hopefully see and talk to each other in person very soon.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, folks. Hunter Knott at HKnott12 on Twitter. Hook up with this guy. He has a very, very important and meaningful message that he wants to share and spend. And I am recommending I am imploring all of you to please check out his Twitch stream and his other social media and get on board and enjoy and embrace this message of positivity he is offering. And while we're at it, Hunter did his plugs. I will do mine. I am at Twisted Metal Fab on the Instagram and the Twitter. Also, Nation's Corner on Instagram and Twitter. Like, subscribe, get notifications on the Nation's Corner YouTube channel. Also, check out our Discord server and I do mean every Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube on the Nation's Corner. It's the Nation's Corner show. Normal guest, front row, the world's greatest truck driver, my brother Tony Justice, the great and all-powerful Deb Housen, and the cranky old man, Mongrovian Mike. Every Saturday night, 7 p.m., talking all things wrestling on the Nation's Corner. But this is Nation's Corner on location. I am John in South Jersey. We will see you next time, or we will see you at the shows.